Hey guys, today is Sunday, January the 16th of 2022. And this one, I call it market recap video. I pretty much go over certain markets and just kind of use the simple glance chart I have, which is the weekly and the daily. So without any further delay, let's get into it. All right, so right here, we're starting out with CCJ. As you can see, a lot of weakness. Once we hit that 26.42, we fail the point of control, which is at 22.97. We got the value area low of 21.58. We got the 200. That looks like we may retest it and see if we can hold. And if it holds, hopefully it bounces back up to do a fully retest of 28.49. But if that's not the case, then looks like maybe an ABC pattern could be playing. But so far, you're below the cloud and linear regressions are kind of pointing sideways to down. You got a sell signal on the MACD. You got a sell signal on this Friday's candle. But you got some support here. So let's see if all these areas will hold on the daily. On the weekly, so far, it's looking good because you're above the cloud. The linear regression channel is pointing up above the 50, kind of chopping around the 20. So let's see if the bulls are in control. They're going to pop this next week and take it higher. If the bears are in control, they're going to give you the A, B, C. They were waiting for you here and they got you. Momentum traders, algo traders came in because of the Kazakhstan issue. Now that got resolved. Now they're all leaving, selling, locking in profits. These are the scalpers. Long-term bulls were already in, but these momentum traders and algos came in, news traders, and now volume is kind of dwindling again. So let's see how that plays out. URA, this is an interesting chart. You are battling the 200 right now. You've been battling it here, here, and here. A value area low right here, 22.44. You're below the cloud, short-term negative. Linear regression channels are pointing down. Below the 50, failed the 50, SMA. And short-term, it's not looking good. On the midterm, which is weekly, you're above the cloud, so that's good. You might have to battle the 50 SMA. You failed the 20. The good thing is that the linear regression channels are pointing up. So this could be support. This linear regression channel could be support. You got this as support right here. And you got the 200 on the weekly and the 100 you're above. So let's see if these levels will hold. And at least you could at least hold the cloud. But so far, URA compared to CCJ, it's a little more on the weaker side. I know CCJ is going to be reporting on February, I think the 9th. So let's see how that plays out for them too. Crude oil. Interesting about crude oil. See, this is what bulls want to see on CCJ in the uranium sector. If they dip, they pop. And let's say this is the Kazakhstan issue right here. Or maybe it was right here, and then they just continue pushing higher. Now that it was calming down and the Russians are leaving and everything's back to order and it's trending higher, ideally, that's what the bulls want to see on uranium, but that's not happening. The weakness is below the cloud. See that the cloud now is pointing positive. The regression channel pointing up. Interesting is you hit a Tom D. Mark 9th daily candle. See right here. So interesting to see if that's going to be a double top or it's going to continue going higher. And the daily, you can see, and the weekly, you can see the same thing. Above the 20, 50, cloud is positive. Linear regression channels are pointing up, so that's looking all good. buy signal right here. MACD buy signal right there. So let's see how that plays out on the market. Gold, it's one of those instruments that it's just, there's a lot of things going on, a lot of moving parts. And I don't want to get into it, but just want to show you what the chart is showing. This is right here. This major resistance, that 1830 level right here. It's just all, once we could get above that, you can see that right here, 1880 now is going to be an issue. Linear regressions are just kind of pointing sideways to down. On the daily's pointing up. So you're at least out of the cloud. So that's good. Now, if we could just kind of chug along here and close above 1830 and just keep chugging along, and just keep going and maybe retest 1880 right here, which would be this right here, this level, and then close above the cloud and then retest that value area high of 1926, then gold will start looking interesting. But as of right now, I think, just kind of be on the sidelines and just wait for gold to tell you what it really wants to do. If it wants to continue pushing higher and test that 2089, or just continue in this rut and just get chopped. Just wait for it to finish what it wants to do until it decides it wants to go down or up. Next one will be silver. Silver, you can see that it's just kind of a little more on the weaker side. You can see, and a little more on the weaker side. Below the cloud, linear regression channels just going sideways. Every time I see the linear regression channels going sideways, it's just pretty much just chopped. On the weekly, it's just pointing down. You're below the cloud, and then you're just kind of holding this value area low, just at 2235. It's a little more on the weaker side. So if I was, a bull, I would just kind of be on the side. We're just waiting for it to close above at least the moving averages and get out of this 2549 rut, 2588, and get above there. Same thing with here. Copper. Copper's interesting. Copper's has been consolidating here, and it's holding the moving averages, which is good. It's above the cloud and chopping around here on the daily and above the cloud. We're just trying to hold it at least. I like to see how copper continues in the next couple of weeks, maybe next month. If it wants to retest that 488, it retested it here and fail. But if this one was a failed and it starts getting into the cloud, then that means maybe it's starting to get a little weaker. But it's just consolidating in my eyes on the weekly. Just a lot of chop on the daily. Bitcoin is interesting. Failed the cloud, finding value area low at that 39 right here. And I've never seen this on the Tom D mark. You have a 13 and a 9th candle back to back. I have to say, I've never seen that before. So it'd be interesting to see if this is a swing bottom low. I'll be watching that. But you below the moving averages, all three, all 4, 20, 200, 150. And you got a Tom D mark on the 9th weekly candle right here. So it's a lot of stuff lining up here, and you got good support. You're getting close to this linear regression channel. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a nice little bounce coming in right here to retest these levels right here. You can see the cloud is already starting to dip in a little bit. But the linear regression channel is pointing up. You're battling here. So if you fail this level right here, that 38 value low will be 31. And last time we were around here was around that 30 level, 300, 28, 29, that it was just chopping around somewhere around here. We'll see. And I have Ethereum also below the cloud. Linear regression channels are pointing up. You can see that here. You don't really see that. Holding the 200 right here. And so far, I don't got the Kumo cloud here because this one looks like it just recently came online. So no cloud yet. But you can see the linear regressions channels. Let's see if any of these hold in value area low. Point of control is at 32.72. So let's see how that plays out. My AppHarvest trade, not looking too good. As you can see, kind of still dwindling lower. Lows with 373 and just kind of going sideways here. They could probably push even lower. But I'm just waiting for it to consolidate and waiting for some sideways price action. And then eventually, when it's time, it'll eventually turn up. But as right now, it's not looking good. And this is probably my bad trade of last year. So I have it on the radar and I'm watching it. I just want to see what happens this year. The Indian market, the Nifty 50. And as you can see, these forecast dates I have, there's one coming up, which would be the 17th. Now, I wouldn't recommend using this by itself. This you would use with other stuff, what are other indicators. But let's say this is the only thing you want to use. Well, the 17th, if we get a reversal bar or reversal candle, that could be maybe an indication that maybe it could be a swing high on the 17th. But if it just kind of pushes higher on that day, you got to see the next day and make sure there's not a reversal. It takes out the low or something, or whatever you used as an indicator that there could be a possible turn. Now, if it just goes sideways and then it pushes higher, then this is the last date, which would be the 25th. And if there's a big spike up and then the next day is down with a big candle, then that's when you have to have your like Spider-Man senses and be like, wait a minute, this might probably be it. Let me lock in some profits. But if you got in, maybe on the next day here, it's kind of trailed your stop, you're doing pretty good. Just keep an eye on the 17th and the 25th. It doesn't mean necessarily it's going to stop those days, but according to the technique I use, these are, probabilities using the overtones of the Fourier. So just putting it out there, Indian trader, the Indian markets. Uranium futures. So on the weekly, you see that the uranium hit a 45.75. So let's see if it could continue trending higher. Well, I'm going to leave this video here. Hopefully you like this video. And I'll keep you posted on my thoughts. I do this once in a while here in the blue moon. We call it market recap. And hopefully let's see how this week all plays out with all these instruments. And I'll see you again.